Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of News for Normies. If you enjoy what I do here on this channel, like what I'm doing, let me know in the comments below. Hit the like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on the social medias. I'll leave those in the comment down below as well. And most importantly, if you too think Die Hard is a Christmas movie, hit that like button, because I am of the opinion that it is, and that is the correct opinion. So, moving on to news. Starting off with some really, really bad news. Tragically, a school shooting happened at a Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin this past week. And, of course, my heart breaks for the families of the victims there. But even more sad, before the police could really figure out what happened and, what exactly caused this person to do it, Biden, if you believe he actually said anything, Biden took the chance to call for more gun control, which is ironic because the left cheered on gun violence, like 2 weeks ago when the United Healthcare CEO was shot in New York. So, just a little irony there. The shooter of the Christian school turned out to be a 15-year-old girl who was a student at the school, and was allegedly talking to a 20-year-old man in California over, social media kind of thing. So, there's a lot of stuff that's weird about this, and oddly enough, corporate media not talking about it all of a sudden. Weird. The shooter apparently used a handgun to kill several people, including students in the school, and apparently had a second firearm on her before she was taken out by police. So, this begs the question of, why did this happen? Obviously, this girl was not mentally well, but it also begs the question, like, what should we do from going forward? Well, we've tried gun control in the past. In the 90s, the Clinton administration did the whole assault weapons ban, and that did nothing to stop, violent crimes that happened in America. So we also see that gun control laws didn't stop Brian Thompson from being shot in New York. You can make laws, but if people don't follow them, then they don't matter. So, maybe, just maybe, instead of giving tons of money to Ukraine or Israel or Pakistan or any other country besides the US, maybe we should make our schools a much harder target for psychos to shoot up. We can spend millions upon billions of dollars giving weapons and armor and things of that like that to people half the world over, but our own kids here are just left defenseless. Like, it just doesn't make any sense, man. And, I can hear the left argument, oh, we just need to ban all guns, take all guns. Okay, well, look, let's give you your perfect world scenario here. We get rid of all the guns, but there's still evil people out there. If evil people want to commit mass murder, they're going to figure out a way to do it. Let's not forget that Timothy McVeigh used a box truck and some fertilizer to kill over 800 people in the Oklahoma City bombing back in the 90s, and Muslim terrorists used box cutters to hijack airplanes and then crash those airplanes into several buildings in 2001 that killed about 3,000 people. So, if evil people are going to do evil things, they're going to find a way to do it. So, I'm not even going to entertain gun control as a solution here. Speaking of crazies with guns, a would-be assassin tried to kill notable white supremacist Nick Fuentes at his home the other day. The person who arrived at Fuentes' home allegedly killed 3 other people shortly before showing up on Nick Fuentes' doorstep. Now, while Nick Fuentes' views about race and politics are absolutely abhorrent and despicable in every single way, he has the right to safety in his own home and the right to self-defense if a crazy person shows up at his house to do harm to him just as you do. Okay? Obviously, self-defense laws vary by each state, so know your laws and check your laws of your state before doing something that could land you in jail. And again, it's ironic that, people on the left will celebrate this guy just like they did Luigi Mangione, but then also, call for gun control when something happens that they don't like. So it just, the mental gymnastics of left-wing thinking, it's tiresome. Pretty good segue into the next thing. 14 people were detained in Aurora, Colorado, and are suspected to be part of the Venezuelan gang known as Tren de Aragua. These people allegedly had a couple tied up and physically beaten, with one person suffering from a stab wound. But remember, this is all just a little thing going on. And according to Martha Raddatz, when she was talking with J.D. Vance earlier this year, these gangs taking apartment complexes were just a couple incidences. So, yeah. Just going to leave that one there, too. Just, foreign gangs coming in, seizing American territory and real estate, and have physically harmed people in our country. Is that not like the textbook definition of an invasion, by the way? It's one thing if people are coming here to work and be, a productive member of society. But when you have violent gangs taking American soil and physically harming American people in America, that's like the definition of an invasion. Again, it just nothing to see here, folks. All right. I'm gonna shuffle around my notes here a little bit, so because I want to end on some good news. Congress was trying to push through a big omnibus spending bill right before Christmas, as they are wont to do. That the original bill was going to be like 1,500 pages long, and had a ton of bullshit in it. Okay, the original bill had included a 40% pay increase for members of Congress, while hurricane victims are still suffering in, parts of Appalachia. More funding for Ukraine, because we need to be funding a war, not keeping our own people safe. 12 biolabs for some reason. Okay. And codification of mask/vaccine mandates. So basically, Congress wanted to make legal all of the, stuff that's gone on in the last couple years. Thankfully, this received a ton of backlash, including from people like Elon Musk, and the 1,500-page bill miraculously got shortened down to 118 pages, and included some good stuff like $100 billion in disaster aid and $10 billion in agricultural assistance to farmers. What I find even more interesting is Elon Musk called out the entire Republican Party before the original bill was trimmed down and said that he would personally fund primary challengers to any Republican who passed the 1,500-page bill. So where am I getting at with this? The 1,500-page bill got shortened down to 118, and it is keeping the government running until March 14th. Then they have to figure out what they want to do from there. So we'll see what happens in the future. But I find it interesting that, politicians are now facing some kind of accountability. because had this been, even 10 years ago, that 1,500-page bill would have got passed no problem, and we wouldn't have heard about it. So, it does make me happy that people are finally making these politicians do their damn job and actually do what's better for us. I'm sure, full transparency here, I didn't read the whole 118-page bill. I have a day job, so that's what politicians are supposed to do. Which, by the way, if you're watching this in Texas and you are in Dan Crenshaw's district, why do you keep voting for that piece of shit? He was on. He's done an interview recently, basically defending Congress trading stocks, and has flat out lied about how much money he's had in the stock market. And we can see that his net worth has gone up quite a bit since he's been in public office. And oddly enough, he bought stock in defense contractors before they signed another aid package to Ukraine. So it's like, this dude is just in it for himself at this point. So if you're in Texas or you know someone in Texas, get on them to get on his ass or vote him out, because he needs to go. Apparently, when his eye got taken out in war, he lost sight of the whole meaning of what it means to be a representative to the U.S. people. Fucking eye patch McCain. Okay, so moving on. I didn't have any of that stuff about Dan Crenshaw in my notes here. I just was going on by rote, so, y'all have the internet. You're watching this on the internet. You can look up Dan Crenshaw going off. Okay. Love this. CNN recently ran a story of a man being released from a Syrian prison following the fall of the Assad regime. Turns out the prisoner was actually part of the Assad regime and was a torturer for the government of Syria. Wow. Now, if you want to go find this video, I'm sure you can find it still. When the whole video seemed fishy from the jump. They claimed that they had to shoot the lock off the door, but then nobody's ears were ringing after a gunshot happened inside a building. The jail cell that this dude was in, that he claimed to be in for 3 months, was pretty clean. There was no toilet in there, but he had been in there for 3 months, so there was no human waste anywhere in the jail cell. And when he came out, he was his physical appearance was pretty good. He didn't look like he had been mistreated for 3 months. So when the story first came out, a lot of people were like, that don't seem right. Oh, turns out the whole thing was fake. So, when these corporate media outlets whine and cry about losing ratings and, say that we can't believe people don't trust their institutions. Why wouldn't they trust their institutions? It's because y'all have been doing things like this for 20 plus years. And people are just now finally seeing it. So thank God. I hope CNN continues to crash and burn, along with all of the other corporate media outlets, including Fox News, by the way. They lie just as much. And they can't talk about certain stuff because they have advertisers too. And, they got to be careful with what they say because, they don't want to make their advertisers unhappy. And finally, speaking of corporate media taking a big hit, ABC News and ABC News and George Stephanopoulos are facing a defamation lawsuit from Donald Trump and may have to pay out $15 million for defaming Trump this past year. So again, this is what happens when the corporate media just lies all the time. This is clearly media malpractice, giving credit to Steven Crowder for that one, because they don't inform you. They propagandize you, okay? So I'm reminded of the Nicholas Sandmann story several years ago when he was defamed by corporate media, and he received a big old settlement of like $250 million from that one, if my memory serves me correctly. So, yeah, that is exactly why I do this right here. So, I try to be as truthful and honest as possible. I I have been open about my views on news and politics and stuff. So it's not like I'm trying to like propagandize someone. I'm you can see right there like where I stand. So with all that being said, I'm kind of just rambling at this point. I'm gonna wrap it up here. This is gonna be my last video for the year. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Stay safe. Take an Uber if you need to. Don't drive drunk. Get back to your family and friends and loved ones safely after the holidays are over. And I will see everybody again after the first of the year. So with that being said, I'll see y'all next time.